This story is created as a gentle space to rest. There is nothing you need to remember, nothing you need to follow closely, and nothing you need to finish. You may listen to the words for a while, or you may drift away from them at any moment. If sleep comes early, that is not a mistake. If you remain awake for some time, that is also perfectly fine. As you listen, the sounds around you may blend with the story. The room you are in may slowly fade into the background. You do not need to imagine clearly or hold on to images. The words are here only as a soft guide, like a hand resting nearby without asking for attention. If at any point the meaning of a sentence becomes unclear, there is no need to return to it. The feeling is enough. Tonight is not about understanding. It is about allowing. You are invited to settle into whatever position feels most comfortable. Your body already knows how to rest. There is no correct posture, no instruction to follow. Simply allow yourself to be where you are, exactly as you are. And as the night continues quietly around you, the story begins. The day has reached its natural end. Whether it felt long or short, heavy or light, it has done what it could, and now it is complete. There is nothing more it requires from you. Imagine standing just inside the doorway of a calm, quiet space. Behind you is the movement of the day, now distant and muted. In front of you is a stillness that does not ask questions. If you are carrying anything from today, you may begin to set it down. Not with effort and not all at once. Simply notice that you no longer need to hold it. You might imagine a bag that has been resting on your shoulder for hours. At first you barely noticed its weight, but now you are aware of it. As you lower it to the floor, there is no rush. The moment your hand releases the strap, your body responds with a quiet sense of relief. Nothing spills out. Nothing is lost. The bag remains right where you placed it, waiting patiently until tomorrow. Your shoulders soften in response. Your breathing begins to slow, not because you tell it to, but because it finally can. Around you, the environment feels dimmer, calmer. It is as though lights in distant rooms are being turned off one by one. Not suddenly and not all at once. Just enough darkness to signal that activity is no longer required. Outside, rain has begun to fall. It is not loud or dramatic. It arrives gently, each drop landing and moving on without hesitation. The rain does not rush and it does not linger. It simply does what rain does, then disappears. Your body recognizes this sound instinctively. Long before words, long before thought, this rhythm meant safety. It meant shelter, warmth, and rest. You may notice your breath beginning to match the pace of the rain. An easy inhale followed by a longer, quieter exhale. There is nothing you need to count, and nothing you need to control. Your breath already knows the way. As you remain here, the sense of being observed fades. There is no one waiting for a response. No one expecting an explanation. This moment belongs entirely to you. If thoughts arise, they can pass through like reflections on wet pavement. They appear briefly, then blur and dissolve without effort. You do not need to push them away. You do not need to follow them. They will move on naturally, just as the rain continues to fall. You may begin to feel a pleasant heaviness settling into your body. Not the kind that weighs you down, but the kind that anchors you gently in place. Like a blanket resting evenly across you, offering warmth without pressure. Your hands rest easily. Your jaw releases. Your eyes grow softer behind closed lids. There is nothing you need to solve tonight. Nothing you need to improve. Rest is not a reward, and it is not something you earn. It is a natural state your body returns to when it feels safe enough to do so. And here, in this quiet space, safety is already present. The rain continues outside, steady and reassuring as though keeping watch. The world remains awake so that you do not have to be. You may stay with these words for as long as you like. Or you may allow them to fade into the background, becoming part of the night itself. Either way, you are doing this exactly right. The rain has been falling for a little while now. Not long enough to change the world, but long enough to soften it. At first, the sound may have seemed distant. Something happening outside separate from you. But as moments pass, the rain begins to move closer in your awareness, not demanding attention, simply offering itself as a steady presence. Each drop arrives with quiet confidence. It touches a surface, releases its sound, and moves on. There is no hesitation in this rhythm. Nothing about it needs to be improved or adjusted. Your body understands this sound in a way that does not involve thought. Long before language, long before memory, rain meant something simple and important. It meant that the air would cool. It meant that movement would slow. It meant that it was wise to stay close to warmth. You do not need to analyze these sensations. Your body already responds on its own. You may notice that your breathing has become slightly deeper. Not forced and not deliberate. Just fuller, as if there is finally enough space to breathe all the way in. And when you breathe out, the exhale seems to last a little longer, like a gentle sigh you did not realize you were holding back. The rain does not hurry you. It does not ask you to keep up. It simply continues, steady and reliable, creating a soft layer of sound that wraps around the night. If you imagine this sound, it might feel like a blanket being laid across the world. Not heavy and not tight. Just enough to cover sharp edges, just enough to muffle what no longer needs to be heard. Thoughts may still appear. That is natural. They may drift in quietly, shaped by habit. But without urgency, they find nothing to attach to. Like footprints in damp sand, they form briefly, then smooth themselves away as the rain continues. You do not need to follow any one thought to its end. You do not need to finish any story tonight. The rain is doing that work for you, washing each moment clean before it has a chance to linger. Somewhere in the distance, the world has slowed. Lights are dimmer now. Movements are fewer. Even places you cannot see are settling into stillness. Your body senses this collective quiet. It recognizes that it is no longer being called upon. Muscles that stayed alert throughout the day begin to soften. Not all at once and not dramatically. Just a gradual easing, like hands unclenching after holding something for too long. You may feel this release in your shoulders, or along your spine. Perhaps in your legs where the effort of standing and moving has finally ended. Or perhaps it is simply a general sense of being supported, as if the surface beneath you has become more willing to hold your weight. The rain continues, patient and unchanging. It does not mind if you listen closely. It does not mind if you stop listening at all. You might imagine the sound moving across different surfaces, softening leaves, darkening stone, sliding gently down glass. Each surface responds in its own way, and all of them are allowed. Nothing resists the rain. Nothing argues with it. In this way, the rain becomes a quiet teacher, though it never explains itself. It simply shows what happens when effort is no longer necessary. Your awareness may begin to drift inward now. The outside world remains, but it no longer needs your attention. The sound of rain forms a kind of boundary, separating what is close and safe from what can wait until morning. Inside this boundary, your body is free to rest. You may notice a gentle heaviness spreading through you. Not the heaviness of exhaustion, but the weight that comes when tension finally lets go. Like sinking into warm sand, where the ground shapes itself around you without resistance. Your breathing continues at its own pace. There is no need to guide it. The rain keeps time for you. Inhale as the sound rises slightly. Exhale as it fades and settles. There is no counting required. No rhythm to remember. The night holds the pattern now. If your mind wanders, it is welcome to do so. It may drift like mist over water, present but without form. There is no need to bring it back. Wherever it goes, rest remains available. The rain has no beginning that needs to be recalled, and no ending that needs to be anticipated. It exists only in this ongoing moment, and that is enough. You may find that the space between thoughts grows wider. Not empty but spacious. Like a quiet room after voices have left, still holding warmth and echoes, but no longer requiring response. Your eyelids feel heavier now, resting comfortably. The muscles around your eyes soften, releasing the effort of focus. Nothing more is required of you tonight. The rain has taken over the task of keeping the world in motion. Your only role is to remain where you are, allowing rest to unfold naturally. You may continue listening to these words, or you may allow them to blur into the sound of rain itself. Both paths. At some point, without needing to decide it, you begin to notice a subtle shift. Nothing dramatic happens. There is no clear moment to point to. It is simply the feeling of having arrived somewhere quieter. The rain continues outside, but it feels farther away now. Not because it has stopped, but because it no longer needs your attention. Its work is being done, and you are free to rest within its steady presence. Imagine yourself standing at the edge of a calm interior space. Behind you, the air feels cooler, more active, filled with the movement of the day. Ahead of you is warmth, stillness, and ease. As you step forward, the space welcomes you without ceremony. There is no announcement. No one is watching. You simply belong here. The door closes softly behind you, not with a sound but with a feeling. The feeling that the outside world has been gently set aside. Nothing has been locked away. Nothing has been shut out harshly. The door has simply found its place, and with it you have found yours. The air inside feels different. It rests more closely against your skin. It carries warmth not as heat but as comfort. The kind of warmth that does not ask you to adjust, only to settle. Your body responds immediately. It does not need instructions. Muscles that remain slightly alert begin to loosen. The constant readiness to respond slowly dissolves, like mist thinning as morning approaches, though here it is the evening that deepens. You may notice your posture shifting, even if you have not moved. Your spine finds a more natural alignment. Your shoulders fall into a position they have been seeking all day. Breathing becomes quieter now. Not shallower but softer. Each breath moves smoothly without pause or effort, like water flowing along a familiar path. The rain outside blends into the background, forming a gentle boundary between this space and everything else. Inside that boundary, nothing urgent can enter. If the day still lingers in fragments, they do so at a distance. A memory passes by, blurred at the edges. A thought rises briefly then fades. There is no need to engage. Here you are not required to respond to anything. This interior space feels patient. It has no schedule. It does not measure time. It simply exists, offering itself as a place to pause. You might imagine the lights here are dim, though not dark. Soft enough to rest the eyes. Gentle enough to allow shapes to blur. Nothing sharp remains. Nothing demands focus. Your senses continue to quiet. Sounds feel rounded and distant. Even the sound of your own breathing feels less noticeable, as though it belongs to the space rather than to you alone. There is a sense of being held now. Not held tightly and not restricted. Held in the way a quiet room holds sound, allowing it to exist without echo or demand. You may notice a subtle heaviness settling through your body. It moves slowly, beginning perhaps in your legs, or across your back or behind your eyes. Wherever it appears, it feels welcome. This heaviness is not fatigue. It is the weight of safety, the weight of no longer needing to remain alert. Outside this space, the world continues in its own way. But here there is nothing you need to monitor. Nothing you need to anticipate. The rain keeps time for everything beyond these walls. It carries away the edges of the day, smoothing them until they no longer catch your attention. Inside, stillness deepens. Not an empty stillness but one that feels full and complete. Like a room that has been prepared carefully, then left undisturbed, waiting only for rest. Your awareness may begin to turn inward now. Not sharply and not deliberately. Just a gentle drawing inward, like curtains being eased closed at the end of the evening. Thoughts lose their structure. They no longer form clear sentences. They soften into impressions, then dissolve entirely. If you find yourself hovering between listening and drifting, that is exactly where you need to be. There is no need to choose one or the other. Your body continues to settle. Each breath confirms that there is nothing more to do. Each moment reassures you that you are already where you should be. The space around you feels steady and quiet. It does not shift or change. It does not ask you to stay awake. You may notice your eyelids resting more fully now, as though gravity itself has grown kinder. Your face smooths. Your jaw remains loose. The threshold has been crossed. Not with effort and not with intention. Simply by allowing the night to do what it naturally does. You are inside now. Sheltered. Unobserved. Free to rest as deeply as you wish. You may continue to listen to these words. The space around you feels complete now. There is nothing missing from it and nothing extra. It exists exactly as it needs to, without adjustment or improvement. This room does not have a purpose beyond being what it is. It is not waiting for activity. It is not prepared for conversation. It simply holds stillness in a way that feels natural and kind. The air here is calm and settled. It does not move quickly. It rests gently against your skin, as if it has learned the shape of quiet over time. There is a softness to everything you sense. Edges blur slightly. Sounds arrive muted and rounded, never sharp. Even the rain outside seems to pause before reaching you. filtering itself through distance and walls until it becomes only a faint, reassuring presence. You may imagine the light in this room as low and steady, not dim enough to hide, and not bright enough to demand attention. It drifts slowly, touching surfaces without clinging to them. Nothing here asks you to focus. Nothing invites you to think ahead. The room does not care if you notice it clearly or not at all. As you remain here, your body continues to respond. The subtle tension that once held you upright eases further. Muscles rest into their own weight, no longer needing to brace or prepare. If there is any remaining alertness, it softens without resistance. Not pushed away and not corrected. It simply fades the way a sound fades when no one is listening for it anymore. This stillness is not empty. It is full in a quiet way. Like a shelf holding nothing but space, ready to support whatever rests upon it. You may notice that your awareness feels wider now, yet less defined. Thoughts no longer gather into clear shapes. They loosen and spread, becoming impressions rather than ideas. There is no need to follow them. They have nowhere to go. The room seems to recognize this state and respond in kind. It offers steadiness without asking for interaction. It remains unchanged, whether you are fully present or drifting somewhere between. The sense of time here grows faint. Moments do not stack or move forward in a line. They rest side by side, indistinguishable, unmeasured. You are not early. You are not late. You are simply here. The rain continues outside, steady and dependable. Its rhythm blends seamlessly with the quiet of the room, creating a gentle background that does not interrupt. It feels as though the rain has taken on the role of listening, allowing everything inside to remain at ease. Your breathing has settled into a smooth pattern. It moves without pause or emphasis. Each breath arrives and leaves quietly, like someone passing through a familiar doorway without needing to announce themselves. Your chest rises and falls with ease. Your abdomen softens. The space inside you feels open and unguarded. There is a comforting sense of being enclosed now. Not confined and not restricted. Enclosed in the way a calm harbor holds a resting boat, protecting it from currents without holding it in place. Nothing presses against you. Nothing pulls at your attention. If any sound reaches you, it feels distant and unimportant. If silence settles in, it feels welcoming rather than empty. The room remains unchanged regardless. It does not react. It does not respond. It simply continues to be a place where effort is unnecessary. Your body may feel heavier now. Not weighed down but gently grounded. As if gravity itself has softened, allowing you to sink comfortably into support. This heaviness spreads evenly. It does not rush. It arrives where it is needed, then settles. You may notice a quiet warmth beneath this heaviness. Not heat and not energy. Just a steady comfort that reassures you without drawing attention to itself. There is no expectation here that you remain aware. The room does not mind if you drift. It does not mind if your thoughts dissolve completely. Awareness and rest coexist easily in this space. Neither one interrupts the other. The quiet deepens, but it does not close in. It expands gently like a soft fabric unfolding, creating room for rest to spread naturally. You do not need to do anything to remain here. You are already supported. The room holds still. The rain continues its patient rhythm. Your body remains at ease. And as everything around you stays calm and unchanged, the warmth around you becomes more noticeable now. Not suddenly and not intensely. It has been present all along, waiting patiently for you to recognize it. This warmth does not rush toward you. It settles slowly, evenly, as though it understands exactly how much is needed. There is no sharp contrast, no moment of adjustment. Only a gradual sense of comfort making itself known. You may feel it first along your back, where support has been quietly offered the entire time. Or perhaps it arrives in your hands, easing them into stillness. It might gather around your feet, or behind your knees or across your shoulders. Wherever it appears, it feels welcome. This warmth does not ask anything of you. It does not require you to respond or acknowledge it. It is simply there, steady and dependable. Your body recognizes this kind of warmth instinctively. It is the warmth that signals safety. The warmth that allows muscles to stop holding themselves ready. You may notice that the small adjustments your body usually makes begin to slow. There is less shifting, less searching for the right position. The body has found what it needs. If there is any remaining tension, it loosens without being addressed directly. Like a knot that unties itself when the pressure around it eases. No effort is required. The warmth continues to spread, not outward but inward. It seems to reach beneath the surface, settling into places that have been quietly tired for a long time. Your breathing responds naturally. Each inhale feels fuller, as though the air itself has grown softer. Each exhale releases a little more weight, a little more holding. There is no need to guide this process. Your body already knows how to receive comfort when it is offered gently enough. You may feel a sense of pleasant heaviness now. Not the heaviness of fatigue, but the kind that comes with being fully supported. Like resting against something solid that will not move away. This weight is evenly distributed. Nothing presses. Nothing sinks too deeply. The surface beneath you feels more cooperative now. It adapts quietly, meeting you where you are. It does not resist your weight and it does not push back. There is a sense of being held here. Not held tightly and not confined. Held in the way warm earth holds a stone at rest, allowing it to settle without tension. The rain outside continues its steady rhythm. It blends seamlessly with this warmth, reinforcing the feeling that everything is exactly where it should be. Your awareness may begin to narrow gently, focusing less on the edges of the room and more on the sensations within your body. This shift happens without instruction. It is simply the natural direction of rest. Thoughts, if they appear, feel distant and faint. They no longer carry urgency or detail. They pass through without shape, like shadows moving across a wall in low light. You do not need to follow them. They fade easily on their own. The warmth deepens, but it does not grow heavier. It remains balanced and steady, reassuring rather than overwhelming. You may notice your jaw remains loose. Your tongue rests easily. Your face smooths as the muscles there finally release the effort of expression. Even your eyes feel more settled now, resting comfortably in their sockets, no longer scanning or adjusting. There is a quiet sense of trust growing within you. Trust that the space around you will remain calm. Trust that nothing unexpected will demand your attention. This trust allows your body to sink a little further into rest. Not physically deeper but emotionally. As if a final layer of alertness has been gently set aside. The warmth feels consistent now, unchanged and reliable. It does not fade and it does not increase. It simply remains, offering comfort without variation. Time feels less defined here. Moments do not move forward so much as they settle in place. There is no sense of waiting for what comes next. Your breathing continues its smooth rhythm, rising and falling without pause. Each breath confirms that you are safe enough to remain exactly as you are. The rain remains outside, steady and patient, like a quiet companion. It does not intrude. It does not demand attention. It simply stays. Your body rests within this combined shelter of warmth and sound. Nothing is required of you. Nothing needs to be managed. If awareness begins to drift, that is welcome. If sleep arrives gently, that is welcome too. There is no boundary here that needs to be crossed deliberately. You are already being held, already supported, already allowed to rest as deeply as you wish.